I just don't believe that we can assign that level of health to Anthony Davis based on what we've seen for the last 3 seasons. And I feel like my skepticism is warranted given the track record.
Canty and Carlin, weekdays on ESPN Radio and on ESPN+.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Kev Nash, you know how I can tell that football season is technically here, but almost here?
Do tell.
Didn't have a weekend. Didn't have a weekend, but had a great weekend all at the same time. Welcome in. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I'm, of course, Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. Kev, how was your weekend?
What up, though? Excellent weekend. Excellent weekend. Last week, I celebrated the 10-year wedding anniversary with me and the wife. We went out of town, hung out, had some real good meals, and just her and I. No work, turned our phones off.
That's not true. I called you. I called you yelling about people at our work.
That was on Friday.
Oh, okay.
That was on Friday.
You alone on the day that counted.
Yeah.
Sorry, Shayla.
It was all good, man. I got a little update from you. Cool things are happening at work, got a good chuckle out of that, and just had some alone time with me and the wife, normal circumstances of everyday life, phone calls out the wazoo, family members, this, that, and the third. Got a chance to disconnect from everybody, just alone time with me and the wife.
Well, we are off and rolling, and again, with football season almost here, we, here at WING, we're going to be busy with our Buckeye pre-games when Ohio State kicks off. Sunday morning, we're going to be live at Frickers for the Sunday morning tailgate show that is officially back. College Football Hall of Famer, former Buckeye, 13-year NFL vet Keith Byers, and myself. I don't have a resume. We will be live at Frickers every Sunday starting week 1 of the NFL season. September 11th will be our first Sunday out at Frickers on 741 by the Dayton Mall. Jacked about that. Every Friday, we're out and about for high school football. We kicked off the season. I said every Friday, but last Thursday, we kicked off the season in the Battle of Kettering, of course. Alter, falls at the, or Fairmont beats Alter in the week 1 rivalry showdown. And we'll have some high school conversations coming up here around the corner. Our top 5 high school performances from over the weekend. So many great team performances, but so many great individual performances. One kid that's one of my favorites in the area that plays at Centerville, and won't give his name out yet. He'll be a part of our conversation around the corner. He had such a big performance on Friday night. He woke up to an offer from Iowa State on Saturday. So we'll talk about that coming up around the corner. But that's what I love.
Good old Matt Campbell.
He's my guy, smart guy, recruiting over here in the Miami Valley. So there's that. But, there's always like the players that are already household names that establish themselves the season before or the seasons before. Mm-hmm. And then you keep an eye on those names. My favorite are the names that, you could just tell another year older, another year, just more mature physically and mentally, of course. And then they get the chance to go perform out on the field. And then all the dominoes start falling for him. And that's what happened with Centerville's star linebacker, which we'll talk about coming up around the corner. But, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to make headlines in an NFL preseason game. And that's what the Cincinnati Bengals did yesterday. Thaddeus Moss. You familiar with Thaddeus Moss?
Yeah. So, son of Randy Moss.
Well, He made a block yesterday. He did his job. There was a block that he made yesterday that, he went towards the knees of one of the top players in the draft this past year, of course, in Kayvon Thibodeau, who now has a sprained MCL. He's only going to miss 3 to 4 weeks, but many had feared that the top draft pick, from this past draft was going to miss significant time. Not that 3 to 4 weeks isn't significant, especially in your rookie campaign when you're trying to get rolling. But, like I said, it takes a lot in a preseason game to make a play and make headlines, and that's what happened with Thaddeus Moss. Marcus Spears of ESPN arguing all day that it was a dirty hit and a lot, it was just interesting. Thaddeus Moss getting a lot of heat today for the block that, according to the rule, did nothing wrong. Did you have a chance to take a look at that block?
I saw it live.
Typical dirty Cincinnati Bengals, I tell you.
I actually saw it live. We were in the middle of trying to find something else to watch on TV or whatever, and that was on. So I just stood there and watched it for a couple plays, and I saw it. I was like, ooh, man, is that Thibodeau? And he's down, he's writhing in pain and everything like that. And then they showed a replay, and automatically your worst thoughts are like, oh, man, he tore his knee up. He's going to be out for the season. He hasn't even started the season. And I knew that was going to be a talking point because obviously who they were playing up against and everything like that, being the Cincinnati Bengals. And, then I did catch a couple of the talking heads on ESPN today talking about if it was a dirty play or not. I personally don't think it was a dirty play. Chop blocks happen every day. And this is something more Keith Byers can answer because he played in the NFL, he played in college and everything like that. You have to protect yourself at all times. We're out here. I know we hear that more in boxing, protect yourself at all times, but this is the same thing in football. You don't take on a cut block with a shoulder. You stiff arm that cut blocker with your hands. Those are the things that I was taught. And we're talking middle school and freshman high school football, not a big star football player I was, but that's what we were taught. So if I was taught that 15 plus years ago, I am positive that Kayvon Thibodeau was taught the exact same thing. And we got to take a look at it like this. Thaddeus Moss, he obviously is the son of Randy Moss, was on that championship team at LSU with Joey B and Jamar Chase and everything like that. But he wasn't one of those dudes drafted in the first round. He was a non-drafted free agent to the Bengals. I'm not sure how many games he's actually even played in the actual National Football League. I believe he's just been on the practice squad. So he's doing everything in his power to make the roster. So if the coaches are saying on this particular play, you're supposed to cut the backer, he's going to cut that backer to try to make the team. So there's nothing wrong with what he did because he's doing what the coaches asking him to do. And I think that Kayvon Thibodeau needs to, take a page out of great linebackers before him on how to protect himself with that stiff arm block where dudes are coming for his legs.
Yeah, I think if this was a regular season play, by the way, I don't think this is headline. I don't think this makes headlines, to be clear. I think that this is as simple as it looked bad and it looked dirty. Anytime you see a clip of a guy going for someone's legs, you're going to be the bad guy in that. Although Moss didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
Based on the rule.
Right.
If you want to argue that the rule needs to be changed, that guys don't just need to be, throwing their shoulder and helmets towards someone's knees, they're money makers, then you know what? I get that and I can understand that. But I really honestly believe the only reason this made a headline, if this was week 1 and Moss makes that same exact play, we're just talking about an unfortunate injury in week 1 and then we move on. But I think it's because it's preseason and we have this idea that, oh man, you don't make those plays in preseason. But Kev, as much as it pains me to have to defend a Cincinnati Bengals player, you are 1,000,000%. They're still a dirty team. I mean, I'm just always going to take the other people's side, right? No, I'm joking. If this was week 1, I would have, it is what it is. I'd have no issue with it. But considering the circumstances yesterday, I also have no issue with it. The headline is that, it's the number 5 pick in the NFL draft gets hit in the legs in a meaningless preseason game. It may be meaningless from the standpoint of, Thibodeau is not really trying to play for playing time or play to prove whether he's good enough to be in the NFL. He's going to be an everyday starter in the NFL, especially this upcoming season for the Giants, of course. But when you look at the Bengals, to Kev's point, Moss, he's not guaranteed anything.
Right.
For one, that's a stacked Bengals offense that he is looking for every opportunity that he possibly can. So he is going to treat that preseason game like it is week 1 or of the NFL season, or like it's, wild card or the playoffs, Super Bowl. It don't matter. So that's the problem with preseason, is that everyone's intensity level is not the same.
Right.
Thibodeau's out there to get reps and get ready for the season. Moss is out there to play for his career.
Yeah. That's
the difference. That's really what happens right there. That's why preseason could be dangerous for starters, which is why I have no problem when teams don't play their starters. But I'm not going to blame, I'm not going to make Moss the bad guy here for doing what he should, and that he's going to play to the whistle. He's going to play balls to the wall. He's going to do everything he can to make a play. I credit him for that. He did nothing wrong. I'm also not going to say that it was Thibodeau's fault either. I mean, if he's not, he should be playing hard at all times.
Right.
He made a mistake, but that's also what preseason's for, to learn from your mistakes. It's just unfortunate that an injury came of this. Anyone out there ripping Moss for this, if Thibodeau doesn't get hurt, are we even talking about it?
No.
Because a dirty play is a dirty play, regardless of the result of the injury of the player or not. And I just feel like if it wasn't for Thibodeau going down injured, we wouldn't even be talking about it. So I'm starting off my week defending the Cincinnati Bengals player and Thaddeus Moss, who I believe did nothing wrong. He's playing for his career. He's playing for a spot on the roster. It's the final preseason game for all these cuts come in again, and he may not be on the roster next. I think he will, but the point is you got, I don't know. Like I said, it's just everyone has different motivating factors to playing in preseason games. Some guys are out there just to get reps, just to get loose, just to get the timing down of the game before they hit the ground running in week one. And then other guys are playing lights out because they may not get it tomorrow in the league. So no, Moss, I agree with you, did nothing wrong.
Yeah, this is something that we see a lot in basketball too. Like, it's not a basketball play. Like, a guy that gets that tag on him a lot is Marcus Smart, because he's like one of these hustle guys. He's a good basketball player, but he's really made his name in the league by being a dude that's willing to do the dirty work and everything like that, along with all that flopping he be doing. But, earlier in the season, he was diving for a loose ball and he rolled up on Steph Curry's ankle, and Steve Kerr just was losing his mind. I'm like, dude, it's a loose ball. If Steve Kerr was coaching a high school basketball team and they didn't dive on a loose ball, he would be screaming to the mountaintops, you got to get on the floor for that. But just because Steph Curry got hurt, was it a basketball play? We got to look at that.
That's what I meant by the results. Dirty is dirty, regardless of the result. Just because he gets hurt doesn't mean it was dirty. That's kind of my point.
Exactly. Just 100% correct. Just because somebody gets hurt playing a sport does not mean it was a dirty play. This is football. Dudes get hurt. Dudes end up crippled playing this game that we love so much. So if a dude gets hurt, doesn't necessarily mean dude was trying to go out there and literally try to end his career. He's doing what he has to do to keep his career going and to make the team and win the football game, just like Kayvon Thibodeau. Because guess what? If Kayvon Thibodeau had a free blindside hit on the quarterback, he would have taken it too. And if he'd have got hurt, that would have been. Go look at what happened to Joe Theismann's knee. Do you think that Lawrence Taylor was thinking like, oh yeah, I'm trying to snap his leg like a toothpick, or he was just playing football and those were the consequences of playing football? These are the consequences of playing football, man. Like, a chop block is legal, so they're going to do it.
Yep. If you have a problem with the rule, we can have that debate. If you have a problem with Thibodeau not blocking, protecting himself, fine. We could. That's part of the conversation too. But what should not be about part of this conversation is saying that Thaddeus Moss is a dirty player. Again, starting off the week defending the Cincinnati
just the way you imagine,
Bengals. Right? It is what it is. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live here on 1410 ESPN Radio. But like I said, it takes a lot. It's a preseason game, and it was leading First Take. It was leading Get Up. It was leading a lot of shows today that I'm like, what is happening here? We shouldn't be that slow in the news cycle that a play in a preseason game is what's leading all the conversation pieces today. But that's really what happened. That's what opened our show today. So there's that. Some guy on Facebook, he says Thibodeau has to protect himself better on plays like that. You don't usually get unblocked on an edge defender like that. So part of playing his position is protecting, himself from that exact block style. Forrest on Facebook. What up, Forrest? He says it's football. It's part of the game. Exactly. That's kind of how I feel about it as well. I do not believe that Moss did anything wrong with that block situation yesterday. Doug Toby says, how do you guys feel about a team blitzing 70% of the time during the preseason? We were just talking about that. It does not help evaluate players when you're bringing the house. They're still a dirty team. When Kev gets back in with us on the other side, I'll pick up with that question, Doug. Thanks for sending that in. But we got a lot to get into today. High school football, week 1 in the books. Our top 5 performers of week 1. We'll talk about all that on the other side. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410.
What up, though?
Looking for dippable chicken that's done right? Just stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken for the 10-piece strips meal at a great price. You'll get 10 premium chicken tenderloins that are freshly marinated, honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and cooked to crispy perfection, along with 2 of our large sides, 5 fluffy biscuits, and 3 of your favorite dipping sauces. These are the best strips. No bones about it. Make your family and your wallet happy with the 10-piece strips meal. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers with a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, new equipment. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Get 11% off your outdoor project at Menards. Beautify and protect your deck, fences, exterior wood, and outdoor furniture with Thompson's. Thompson's Water Seal Wood Protector protects against damage from water and sun and helps maintain wood's natural color. A gallon of Waterproofer Plus Clear Wood Protector is $15.99 after 11% off. Good through August 28th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Traffic.
Right.
This wagon commute is killing me. You mind if I turn on the old radio?
Oh, this song again. I swear they play the same 3 chants on every station.
At this rate, it's going to take a fortnight to get to work.
Well, just be glad you don't need to fill up. I mean, have you seen the price of hay?
Throughout history, people have always hated to commute. That's why Monster lets you search work from home jobs. Find your job at monster.com or download the app.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Germain Honda Beaver Creek is your local Honda dealer. If you've been waiting to buy, now is the time. For a limited time, we have 22 Honda Passports and 22 Honda Pilots with financing as low as 1.9%, and 2022 Honda Ridgelines with financing as low as 2.9%. Remember, you can get the Honda you're looking for. We are taking deposits on current scheduled in-build new Hondas every day. See me, sales manager Jason High, for all the details. We're on Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way.
New Chef's Chicken Sandwiches from Panera. Pan-seared chicken, a secret garlic aioli recipe, Parmesan crisps, and pickle chips all on a buttery brioche roll. Try one for only a $1 delivery fee when you order on their app. Restrictions apply.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Week 1 of the high school football season is officially in the books, and we'll highlight some of the top games from around the Miami Valley, at least as far as results are concerned, but we'll highlight our top 5 individual performances from over the weekend as well. We'll get to that coming up a few minutes from now. Kev, this question was sent in from Doug Toby. Doug Toby, and again, we opened up the show today, by the way, talking, NFL preseason. Right? That's what everyone loves to talk about. But for whatever reason, a big preseason headline yesterday that involved, of course, the Giants' number 5 overall pick in Thayvon Thibodeau. He goes down after Thaddeus Moss kind of made a block at his knees, towards his legs, and it finds out it's an MCL sprain. He's going to miss 3 to 4 weeks. It looked like
That's
it was
a
going to
good
be an
thing.
ACL that could be out for the year. And, I was mad because he put me in a position that I had to defend the Cincinnati Bengals, Moss, in this situation. But I did not think it was a dirty play. I think it's a situation where, and this is a good conversation to have about preseason based on what Doug's question is going to be here in a second. But, you have Thibodeau, who's out there playing, just trying to get the speed of the game down, who's getting set to, kind of ball out in his rookie season. He's going to be one of the main featured players in the defense of the Giants. Then you have Thaddeus Moss, who he's treating these preseason games like it's a regular season game, like it's a Super Bowl, because he's not promised a spot on the roster and he's not promised to be at practice the next day. So when you get those those conflicting approaches towards a preseason game, sometimes it becomes a little dangerous at times. So Doug Toby, Kev, he says, and you go to your left just a tad to get back at the camera angle. There you go. He goes, how do you guys feel about a team blitzing 70% of the time during the preseason? We're just talking about it. Does not help evaluate players when you're bringing the house. They are still a dirty team. I disagree, Doug, but Kev?
Not at all. This is football. This is football, man. Like, we have these preseason games. We can't sit here and act like your team that you root for is the only team that are trying to tune up and get better. Like, they're working on defensive calls. They're working on to see if player X is going to do what they need them to do on those exact plays. I have no problem with teams blitzing. And plus, his Wink Martindale, if I'm not mistaken, the Giants defensive coordinator, that's what he's known for. Like, you wonder why that the Baltimore Ravens always are like top 3 in the league in sacks, because they bring the house. They bring exotic blitzes and everything like that. Like, I have no problem with it at all. Like, this is a dress rehearsal for the regular season, right? You want to get reps, right? Well, if your defense is known for bringing pressures, you have to get reps at bringing pressures. It isn't just as simple as, all right, I'm going to stand there, now I'm going to blitz. Like, they have to disguise things, they have to maneuver, they have to call signals, all that jargon that we as regular fans don't know nothing about. I have no problem with it.
Doug, why do you think it's dirty? What is it that makes that dirty? Because here's the deal. You're saying if they're blitzing 70% of the time, if that's going to be the defensive approach that the Giants have heading into the season, they need to have the same approach with the starters, to the second team, to the third team, to the practice squad guys, to the guys who are about to get cut. If you're going to play in that scheme, you got to do it. This is why I don't like the preseason. I don't understand, and this is why they get paid millions of dollars, and I sit over here pretending to understand football and talk about it every day with you all. I think it's very difficult for us as just common folk fans to evaluate what the hell we're watching in preseason.
Right.
Because like I said, it is so tough. We think that the biggest debate during the preseason every year is, should you play your starters or not? That's a part of it. But at the same time, for the teams that do play their starters, the starters aren't playing balls to the wall because they're just trying to get get the timing down, get a little, chemistry with the offensive line, with the receivers on the handoffs, just simple things like that. Maybe execute a couple plays that they've been working on in practice against a defense that maybe doesn't know what's coming, just to kind of pick up on some tendencies that, an opposing defense might have that isn't aware of what the plays coming. Then you have the guys who are like, well, we're not going to play any starters. So I think when you don't play any starters, you get a group of guys that play 10 times harder during the preseason than the team that's playing starters, because you're getting guys who are trying to prove themselves, and they are going to play, as hard as they possibly can because they're playing for their careers.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the starters who don't have that same approach. They're not playing for their careers. They're just playing to get loose a little bit. And then you have guys playing at different speeds. Then you have offenses who they're just out there calling vanilla offenses, vanilla plays, just, you know what I mean? Little, play action here and there. And then other teams we're calling every play we can. We want to make sure everything we've been working on in practice, that we're as buttoned up as possible against different opponents, so that come week 1, we're ready to go. Then you have defenses who are just there playing prevent defense just to get, footing down, to get, timing down, that type of thing. And then other defenses like the Giants are sending in the blitz. I don't understand why we are sitting here criticizing the Giants for doing something that's their philosophy. Bengals, if your third string or fourth string's in there, you can't handle the blitz, well, then you're like the Bengals teams of the past then. So I'm just saying, I don't understand. It's not dirty, Doug. You're doing that thing that fans do where anything bad that's done to your team, you think it's dirty. Well, Giants fans think your team's dirty as hell because Thaddeus Moss went at the knees of their number 5 overall draft pick from this most recent draft. So no, it wasn't dirty. The Bengals weren't dirty. The Giants weren't dirty. Guys making football plays, guys doing, call it. I don't know. I have no problem with what the Giants did. No problem with what Thaddeus Moss did. We are soft as fans now. We're soft as fans. Stop doing the victim thing, fans. Oh, they're hurting our team. They're blitzing our team. How can you evaluate that? I don't know. I'm not a defensive coordinator. I'm not a coach. I'm not paid to be. I just know that, hey, They have their reasons, and I'm pretty sure that they're not going to waste a preseason game not getting something on tape that they can evaluate just to injure the 4th or 5th string quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Look, man, we as fans think we know all this stuff about football and sports and everything like that. We know a little bit, but these coaches know way more. Like, if you go ahead and just look at the stats and everything like that, you could say, oh, man, this quarterback only hit 3 of 7 passes. Well, does that account the drops that happen? You know, the scouts are going to look at everything. They're going to look at the ball placement like, oh, man, that should have been a drop. And they're going to say, like, all right, this guy can play for us, man. He can make the throws. He could potentially be a backup quarterback for us, or he could be a 3rd string guy. We can break glass in case of an emergency on this type of guy. So they see it a total different way. And that's why I think it's a total waste of time to watch this, because this isn't about winning and losing. We as fans, all we really care about is winning and losing. But them as coaches and evaluators, they're looking to see who got better. Are they taking the things from the practice field and executing them on a quote unquote real game setting and everything like that? That's why it's completely pointless for me to watch, because I don't have that eye for that. I don't. I'm not a coach. I'm not a former player.
To our listeners, let's just be clear. Our listeners who played 2.5 years of high school football at the varsity level.
That's
all
me.
Right. Yeah, but you have common sense. You're not pretending to watch. Like, these nerd fans sit down like, all right, I'm going to watch some film. Oh, man, I'm really impressed with our practice squad linebacker. I think in the next 5 years, the trajectory for him, I think he could be a Pro Bowl linebacker for a team that doesn't even know it yet. I mean, my goodness, he's so good.
The way he sheds that block.
Yeah. Stop, guys. You got, like, I'm amazed how many people I run into that, like, well, I've been watching film. Really? Have you? Like,
and guess
stop
what?
With the watching film.
Guess what, dude? As a regular person like me, you, and everybody out there listening, watching film will put you to sleep. I've watched film with a former professional athlete. It is the boringest thing I've ever seen in my life. They just keep rewind, play. I'm like, you're watching a 2-second clip over and over for hours? Nah, I'm good. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I would never watch film ever. And that's what separates a lot of us from, you know, the Joes that we are to these athletes, not even on the NFL level or college level, even high school level. My nephew / godson, he plays for Centerville. They watch film. I saw him watching film on his iPad. I said, what's up, man? And kept moving, because I'm not about to watch you watch film. It's boring. I'll never do it. And guess what? We shouldn't, because it's boring.
And those guys know what they're looking for.
Yeah, we don't. We just don't, man. We're not trained in that profession.
Oh, but I know what I'm looking at, because in high school, I know what I was. Yes, I know back in the day, you used to put your VHS tape in the VCR. All right. And then you would hit rewind on your clicker or your remote control or whatever it is that you called your remote back in your day. But trust me, you don't know what the NFL guys are looking for. And it's also, and that's why I said it's tough to do. When you have one team that's coming in just to play that, you know, I'm here so I don't get fined. I'm here so we don't, you know, we have to play. You got some teams that approach it like that. And then other teams like the Chiefs who, you know, Patrick Mahomes got 2 quarters, by the way, looked pretty dang good without his dude. So good for him, by the way. But, you know,
you bring that up. That's an excellent point, because you look at the Kansas City Chiefs and their philosophy is to come in and play it like a real game with their starters and everything like that. And then you have the Baltimore Ravens, who haven't lost a preseason game since God knows when.
They've won 22 straight preseason
They
games.
don't play their starters, and they're still winning. So that goes to the philosophy of the coaching staff and organization about how we're approaching this. Like, certain teams that go through the motions and everything like that, like the Rams, it works for them. Obviously, they're just hoisted the Lombardi. It works for the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid, because that's what he's been doing since his Philadelphia Eagle days. It works for the Baltimore Ravens on what their philosophy is, not playing starters and playing the backups and trying to win every single game. You know, there's a whole bunch of different philosophies going out there on the football field. And when these two worlds collide, ain't no telling what's going to happen. If you got a team like the Rams going through the motions with backups, and then you got a team that's going all out like the Kansas City Chiefs, what you think going to happen? You got superior athletes, because obviously these dudes are starters and these dudes are trying to make the roster. So the gap is just big as the equator. What you think going to happen? Somebody going to get hurt out there. This is football.
Yeah, I mean, even from a basketball perspective, the other reason in NBA preseason games that guys don't like to play their starters a lot is because a lot of times you're going up against guys who are going to be cut or guys who are just trying to make a G League roster. Well, guess what? The guys that are trying to play hard to make a G League roster, you know how they're not playing it like like the veterans are playing it like a preseason game just to get their legs loose.
Mm-hmm.
The G League guys that are playing for a roster spot, man, they're closing out on every shot. I mean, LeBron could pull up 10 feet behind the 3 line, and this dude's going to close out, and his foot comes up underneath LeBron coming down, and now you have, a steal and a play in the fast break. All right, just let it go for a layup. But no, this dude's playing for a roster spot, so he's going to go up and try to block. He's going to get the highlight G League's preseason block, and now LeBron or a star player's out for the season because while he was just going up for he got the steal and an easy layup, easy dunk and transition. Mr. Shaquille O'Neal over here trying to get the huge, block from behind or whatever. And so that's even in basketball, you get that. And you hear people talk about that in basketball all the time. You get guys who aren't playing all for the same things in preseason, which leads to dudes getting hurt. And I think that's why, we see what we see at times. But like I said, Moss did nothing wrong. The Giants did nothing wrong. Last thing on the preseason, because I'm bored talking preseason. Justin Fields. This cracks me up. I watch preseason. I have no clue how to evaluate it. I don't know who looks good. I watched the Browns yesterday. Man, Dobbs, all of a sudden I feel pretty good about Dobbs. Oh, do you? Do you feel good about Dobbs? Should Dobbs be the starter? Should we not get Jimmy Garoppolo? Should we trade Deshaun Watson because Dobbs looked good in the preseason game yesterday? I mean, come on. Can we stop this? Like, he looked good against like opponents. Let's just be like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about Dobbs as far as that's concerned. Great. He played well in a preseason game. To me, I watch preseason just to watch football. I'm watching guys that are wearing the jersey of the team that I follow, whatever. But Justin Fields, Bears fans, all like, man, he looked the part. Justin Fields completed 5 as a Buckeye fans. I knew he had it in him. Bears game, this from last Thursday, I believe. It was a while ago, but completed 5 of 7 passes, 39 yards. Whatever. I mean, I watched it, Kev. He didn't look bad. I don't know what I'm watching. Like, I'm not even telling you he looked bad, but I'm definitely not going to tell you he looked good. And we could do the whole reasons for why he's going to be bad or why he's not going to be good or who's to blame. But can we stop with the overreaction to preseason games? It just cracks me up. But the Justin Fields evaluation, he's going to have a bad season. It may not be because he's a bad quarterback, but it's because he plays for a bad organization. But those who get excited about preseason games, I don't know what to tell you.
Didn't see it, but I did see the highlights. So I saw him completing passes, but you know what I saw while he was completing those passes?
Quick release.
Running for his life. You know what he didn't have to do at Ohio State? Run for his life. You know why he could hit all those dudes butt naked wide open, hitting Olave, hitting Garrett Wilson? It's had time to throw the ball, had time to scan the field, go through his progressions, everything like that. Not with the Bears. He out here running like he a track star, bro. It looked like he playing baseball again. He just running around looking for dudes to get open. So we can rewind to 2 years ago when we did the draft show. I was praying that he ended up with the San Francisco 49ers, a team that has a good offensive coordinator, a great head coach, and Mike Shanahan and everything like that. Obviously, Shanahan was the OC for the Falcons when they went to the Super Bowl, helped Matty Ice win the MVP that year. It's not going to end well for him there. And it's going to probably end up great for, Trey Lance. It's just not going to end well for Fields there with the Bears. It's just not.
To be clear, I am pulling for Justin Fields because I'm tired of hearing about the Buckeye QBs not cutting it in the NFL. I'm also tired of hearing Buckeye fans so desperate to have a Buckeye quarterback in the NFL that you take credit for Joe Burrow's success. So I am pulling that Justin Fields has a successful run in the NFL. But who's to say? And I know this sounds crazy, but CJ Stroud's pulling for him too. If you think that Justin Fields' performance this year will not have an impact on the perception of CJ Stroud, you're wrong. Like it will. Like if Justin Fields has a bad year this year, Kev, we will hear about Justin Fields a lot come next year's draft when it comes to the evaluation of CJ Stroud. You will have fans who, however the draft order plays out, man, I don't want CJ Stroud. Look at Justin Fields.
Right.
Rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins. I'm just talking about him as the quarterback. I'm not going all I'm not going to do what that guy did. But bottom line is, he wasn't a good NFL quarterback. So that just added to that narrative. I don't know if that's a thing or not.
Right.
But the narrative has substance to it. I don't think Justin Fields' lack of success because he's on a bad Bears team will have any indication of what CJ Stroud's future will be, but it will play a role in the perception. That's what's great.
Yeah, I mean, before we started the show today, we were talking about the Matt Te'o documentary that's on Netflix and how perception just runs rampant. Like if the NFL can bash on a guy like, I don't know, Andrew Luck about returning to school to get his degree from Stanford and say, well, is he really dedicated to football?
What an idiot.
Or bang on what's the guy? He was with the Titans and he became a neuro surgeon. I'm drawing a blank on his name. But they were banging on him like, I mean, he wants to be a doctor. I mean, what does he need to play football for? Do you really love it? Like the NFL will find excuses and every reason in the world to nitpick about you. Like we talk about everything that went on with Dez Bryant and them asking him about his mom and everything like that. Like the NFL will find a way to discredit you as a player. You and I may think like, all right, man, those are individuals. The individuals have individual personalities and individuals do things differently. So what that person did just because he played the same position at my school has no bearing on what I'm going to do with my professional career. We can say that till we blue in the face, but we all know that's not reality.
It's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be back in just a moment.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Get ready, because here they come. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's Beatlemania all over again with the Fab Four, the ultimate tribute to the Beatles. Entertainment Tonight says seeing the Fab Four is just like seeing the Beatles. The Fab Four takes you through the 60s with the music that changed our lives.
Like me, you and everybody out there listening, watching film with I've watched film with a former professional athlete. It is the boringest thing.
Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. 800-401-6681.
Summer is winding down, and Rob's Beer Barn is preparing for all your favorite fall beers and all other seasonal refreshments. That means Rob's Beer Barn has you covered for all your gatherings. At Rob's, you can find all the ice-cold refreshments you'll need: craft, imported, local, and seasonal beers, fine wines, snacks, and ice. And Rob's Beer Barn has apparel. For last-minute items, you can call, walk in, or drive through. Stop in and stock up today. Rob's Beer Barn on Indian Ripple Road at Darst, just a mile east of the Green. Rob's Beer Barn, just look for the beaver.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy inherited properties, vacant homes, rentals, commercial properties, and apartment buildings. Give us a call today and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
It's time again for A. Brown & Sons Nursery's annual stock reduction auction of high-quality nursery stock. Save hundreds to thousands of dollars. The auction starts promptly at 7:19 a.m. on Saturday, September 10th. If you don't have time to come out in the morning, come out in the afternoon. 3 auction rings run all day long. Brown's has shade trees, shrubs, evergreens, ornamentals, and perennials up for auction. Tell your friends and neighbors. Brown's Nursery is located just a half-mile north of Phillipsburg, Ohio, on State Route 49, just 4 miles north of I-70, exit 24. Make plans now to fill your entire landscaping needs at huge savings that can't be matched anywhere else. Visit brownsnursery.com and click on the auction link at the top of the homepage for all the details. Plan to attend the annual stock reduction auction at Brown's Nursery promptly at 7:19 a.m. on Saturday, September 10th. Rain or shine, delivery will be available. Details online at brownsnursery.com.
When you bundle your renters and auto insurance with Progressive, you could save money, but it doesn't cover any terrible memories living rent-free in your head.
Hey, just wanted to remind you of that time your kicker missed the extra point and lost the game. Even though he literally never missed an extra point, he chose this playoff game to miss. Yeah, I just noticed you hadn't thought about that in a bit. Wouldn't want you to miss, thinking about it.
Sorry, we can't save you from that memory, but we could save you money bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Renters insurance and bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
If it's just another day, that doesn't mean you deserve just another shower. Nebbia by Moen Quattro creates 4 unique shower experiences: relieve, soothe, clarify, and cleanse, to give you all the escape while using 50% less water than standard showers, making your everyday routine an experience. Water designs our life. Who designs for water? Moen.
The IRS is ramping up collection, and if you owe back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, listen carefully. Before it's too late, check your eligibility for the Fresh Start program still offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problems. Call our special hotline number now and find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. Business or personal, if you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to know your options, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop collections immediately. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau with a 5-star rating from Yelp, this veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. Call their hotline number now, 800-509-3124. That's 800-509-3124. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-509-3124 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
Fairmont at Trotwood is our Week 2 high school football game of the week. I can't believe we're already at the high school football season. Week 1 officially already in the books, and we're excited to be talking high school football coming up here. At the top of the next hour, we'll dive into our top 5 high school football performers of Week 1. A lot of big names on that list, so we're excited about that. Springboro fans out there, we got a player from your neck of the woods that'll be on our top 5 list. Centerville has one. I just couldn't believe going through Centerville's roster, Kev. The thing that fascinated me the most is, like, for one, they won 9-6, so that doesn't surprise me that for one, it surprised me that they only put up 9, but the fact that they held Lakota East to 6 points.
Yeah.
But then you see the weapons they have on the defensive side of the ball, all guys that will be playing on Saturdays moving forward, is pretty interesting. Nick Bruder, of course, he's their senior defensive back. He's first team all-district, third team all-state, of course, last year. He's also a weapon on their offense, on the offensive side of the ball as well. That's what makes him so interesting. But, he had 3 interceptions last year, a couple that he returned for touchdowns. That's a name for Centerville to look out for. That Emmanuel Deng is very good. Your godson, of course, we've talked about him on a few occasions. Go ahead and get Mr. Reggie Powers.
Yes, my godson. He's out here just doing what he does, man. Very humble kid. I have to brag on him because he won't brag on himself. You will love that, Kenner, because he's not a social media guy. He's a very quiet kid. But when he gets on that football field, it's a switch that flips. He is nothing like himself when he's on the football field. He's very intense when he's on the football field. So, I love it. Love it out there. Love it out there.
Who I am in person is exactly who I was on the football field, Kev. Not talented. So there you go. But Reggie's the man. But he had a great game, and he's not on the list of the top 5 performers. That shows, we're not about the nepotism here on the show.
I am.
Yes, we'll reveal that top 5 performers list of the weekend coming up here at the top of the hour. Forrest says, go Xenia. I will say there is a Xenia player that is on the list. He had himself a day. We'll talk about that. Keith Tolliver says, long trip for Springfield for nothing this past weekend.
Oh,
Keith,
yeah.
tell me what happened. It's maybe my job to know what happened, but no game this past weekend, correct?
I was out of town, so I wasn't up to date.
By the way, you guys should
like
tune into the local show to find out what's going on. And but I found that interesting.
I heard about the game getting canceled, but I'm not 100% sure why it got canceled.
So, well, there you go. You heard it here first.
Right.
We know what y'all know, and that ain't a whole hell of a lot. But yes, there you go. Rain out at Sadie Nation.
Okay.
So there you go. It wasn't anything controversial or anything along those lines. But so there's that. But what a weekend weather-wise, too. On top of that, Friday was good.
Friday was
nice.
good.
Friday was perfect for high school football, by the way.
So remember earlier in hour 1, I was talking about we went to Columbus for dinner and everything like that. We got trapped at the restaurant. We're at Jeff Ruby's downtown Columbus and everything.
Wow. I'm at home eating my Salisbury steak, and you can tell the difference in pay grades here at the old WING. Continue your little hoity-toity lifestyle.
So I didn't get the car valeted. Bad move on my part. I should have got valet because we're sitting there waiting for the rain to let up so we can make a run for the car. And, the wife has on the dress and everything like that. So it finally kind of lets up. I was like, well, stay here. I'll just go get the car and everything like that. She's like, no, I'll go with you. So we're running around the corner and it's only drizzling at that point. And as soon as we about to walk into the parking garage where our car is, pours down raining like buckets. So yeah, I'm drenched. She's drenched. Big fun. Next time
after the meal, though. Right?
Yeah, after.
All right.
Yeah.
So before y'all had your little romantic notebook moment in the rain, it was on the way home.
We went over to the shoe and took some pictures at the shoe. Hung out a little bit on High Street. All the young bucks out there having a blast, and we're just reminiscing like, oh man, we would have did that when we were younger, but now we're just gonna go back home.
So Keith Tolliver says a name drop by Kev. Oh yeah, I was at Jeff Ruby's. Just chilling, just hanging out.
Ting ting.
Enjoying a little, a couple appetizers. My wife and I split a water, though. How is Jeff Ruby's, by the way?
Off the hook. They have this thing called a butter pie. I'm sure the calorie count is crazy, but it's worth every bite. It was awesome. It was a real good time.
Obviously, you go to nice restaurants like that, calories, they don't count.
Yeah,
carbs don't count.
You can't count them because guess what? If you start counting, you won't enjoy yourself. So I definitely enjoyed myself.
Shaw said, Cap, I coached 2 sophomores on Centerville's football team when they were in Pee Wee in Kettering. Says Montgomery and Newcomb.
Nice. Look at you, Shaw.
Shaw
back
trying
to
to take credit for their success now. Is that what you're doing, Shaw? Shaw, that is so rude. It's just
giving back to the community. I love it.
Yeah. But no, so again, our high school football conversation, top of the hour coming up, our top 5 individual performances from over the weekend. Really jacked about that. But between now and then, also in hour 2, by the way, we'll dive back into the NFL. For a while, people have been on me about, I keep saying, in the AFC, there will be 10 teams, and we also have our bold predictions for the season later this week as well. But I'll give you one of them. I've been giving you one of my bold predictions for a while now. The Bengals will finish in last place, and Joe Burrow will be a bust. And I'm sorry, I was reading off my 2022 or my 2021 list. Sorry. Oh, here we go. The wrong list. No, that was on my list last year. By the way, we know how that one worked out. My bold prediction for this upcoming season that I've been talking about for a while: 10 teams out of the AFC alone will win 10 plus games. There will be 10 teams who win 10 plus games this year, in my opinion. 7 of those teams will make the playoffs, which means 3 teams who have won at least 10 games will miss the playoffs. And Kev was on me about that. And then he was on me about the NFC because we keep talking about how bad the NFC is without doing a lot of research for this next segment in the second hour. I think the NFC might be better than what we're giving it credit for, but we'll talk about that coming up in hour 2 because we're going to do in or out, presented by In-N-Out Burger. Just joking. We don't have In-N-Out on here.
I do want to make a statement about the bold predictions. So when we do these bold predictions, 5 in the NFL and 5 in college football, they're bold predictions for a reason. Anybody can say, hey, man, Ohio State's going to win the national championship. Alabama's going to win the national championship. Those aren't bold. So we're inviting everybody out there to hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Facebook. Give us your bold predictions and be bold. Let's get the conversations rolling, man. Be bold about these picks because I got some doozies. I got a doozy. Yeah, I got two doozies, actually. I got a very bold prediction in the NFL and one that's going to put a smile on your face in the college football.
By the way, that'll be on tomorrow's show. Our tomorrow's show will be our NFL bold predictions for the upcoming season. Wednesday will be the college football one as well. So there's that. David Shaw says, Minnesota wins the Big Ten West.
You're
not following the rules. We're not doing that segment right now. He's sending in bold. See, and you talk about coaching. I hope your kids follow directions better than you, Shaw. I'm just joking. Kind of. Follow directions. No, bold predictions tomorrow. But now we're to who's in, who's out. We're not going to talk schedules. We're not going to have anything in front of us. It's just rapid fire. He throws out teams, who's in the playoffs, who's out the playoffs. We're going to see if that adds up to what
this is going to be awesome. This is going to be awesome because what we all have to remember is only 7 teams per conference can make it. So when we get to the last division, might be a little short on teams, or you may have a whole bunch of teams left to be able to make the playoffs. It's going to be fun.
Baker Mayfield was officially named the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. And by the way, you're acting like that was a hot take of yours. That wasn't a hot take. It was Sam freaking Darnold, dude, that he beat out.
You were the one on here talking about I wouldn't start him. I wouldn't start him against the Browns. Why wouldn't you?
Oh, no, what I was saying, hey, in those big moments of the Carolina Panthers, as far as protecting it, because when the moment gets big and he tries to be something he's not, he doesn't perform well. I know he's better than Sam Darnold. I've been saying that from the very beginning.
I wasn't saying it was bold. I'm just saying it's like a duh. Duh.
And watch. He will go out and try to be something he's not. He'll throw multiple picks. And now you're saying that sounds an awful lot like who he is. We're talking about the last time he was healthy, threw 8 interceptions in 16 games as a starter for the Browns. He takes care of the football when he's healthy. Last year, not so much. He's playing with one arm. Just saying. In an ass-kicking contest. Just throwing that out there. Is what it is.
Can't wait for the NFL top 100 to get to the TJ Watt highlights. Going to be a lot of Browns highlights on there. Going to be a lot.
Hardy, hard. So there's that. But I can't wait for the Browns. There's a lot of Bengals highlights in those in some of those Browns players highlights. I'm just throwing that out there too when we get to the Ward one. So how about Miss Sister Jean turning 103 years old?
Congrats, Sister Jean. You're not a Sister Jean lover though.
No, I got Mr. Mark Adams. If he ever heard me on that show that day, he'd kill me. But I said, she needs to stop taking attention away from the dude. All the highlights about Loyola making this great run, and she's hogging all the camera time.
Goodness
that
gracious.
take was not popular.
You don't say.
I'm like, but am I wrong?
She's not putting the camera on herself.
She has no problem smiling and waving. And if I'm 103 years old, I'll be smiling and waving
too. She's just happy to be here still, man.
No,
shouts out to Sister Jean
celebrating it up. Little chuckle here and there, but let the kids enjoy their moment. They're only there for 4 years. You've been around for 103. They're only gonna be there for 4, if that. Just saying.
If they don't hit the transfer portal,
I'm going down. Another top story that we just don't spend a lot of time on these ones. But how about let's talk about Hooters? No, you perv. The restaurant. What's wrong with you? Hooters is a part of a significant NIL deal. They signed 51 college offensive linemen nationwide to a name, image, and likeness deal.
Wow.
And again, the certain chain said it wanted to sign offensive line groups rather than individual athletes and is now working with players from, do you think Ohio State's part of this list?
Yes.
So Hooters is working with the offensive line for offensive line groups for Auburn, LSU, Oklahoma, Miami, Georgia Tech, Missouri, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, Florida Atlantic, and USF.
Gave up on the Columbus market, because of B-dubs and Roosters.
I guess it's a competitive, field out there for all Hooters.
Okay.
So,
Okay, Hooters.
It's
You're on my list.
So Hooters chief marketing officer Bruce Scala said in a press release that for decades, the physical play, blue-collar mentality, and on-field leadership of the offensive linemen has shined. But national praise and attention for the crucial players has all too often been sidelined. And now that's why they're using their Hooters to bring attention to the offensive linemen who have just not been given the respect that they deserve. I mean, why not? I mean, that's why teams have cheerleaders. What? To bring attention to stuff. I'm just saying.
Bringing attention, eh?
Yes. He says, we want to change the Hooters. I mean, good for them, standing up for what they believe in. We want to change the narrative and celebrate these elite student athletes who play a pivotal role in making college football so thrilling and give them their fair share of the spotlight.
There you go. There you go, Hooters.
I didn't know Hooters so passionate about offensive linemen. I'm just saying.
I'm not going to play this game with you, sir.
It's not a game. It's a great story about how Hooters is just shedding light on a position group that has just been without attention for so long.
I could say something, but I'll save it for the break.
Good for Hooters. Good for the offensive linemen and good for Hooters.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
So is what it is. It's a real story. I'm not making. I mean, look, everyone's laughing, being immature.
I wonder why.
Huh. Aye. All right. Nope. I'm not. Nope. Not doing that. See, I about started clicking on some of these comments. I'm like, nope. Nope. Can't read that one. All right. You know what? With that being said, we are just going to step away for a few moments because we're gonna, we got to be mature. I ruined that this hour. I'll try better in the next hour. All right. 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. Of course, we'll get in to some NFL stuff coming up around the corner. We'll also dive into high school football at the top of the next hour. Coming up here 5 minutes from now, the top 5 individual performers from week 1 of the high school football season. That is coming up 4 minutes from now. Keep it locked in here to 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
A relaxing drive in the country. Cornfields, rolling hills, and red barns. Idyllic. Until suddenly you approach a bad railroad crossing with obstructed views. The only warning? A crossbuck. With minimal signage, an accident can occur anytime. But you can help. Report bad railroad crossings at angelsontrack.org. That's angelsontrack.org. Because bad crossings kill good drivers. Sponsored by Angels on Track, aired by OAB and this station.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
I want to take more chances with the embroidering.
Henley's vision for a new clothing line is coming into focus.
Dramatic.
They'll need an on-staff photographer to put their collection in the spotlight.
Why is no one taking shots of these?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Dealing with an outdated printer that just can't keep up with you? Visit Staples and upgrade to a new HP Envy Inspire with HP Plus, HP's best home printer. And it comes with 6 months of free ink. It prints everything you need, from homework and work documents to incredible photos and more with amazing quality. Right now, save $70 on the HP Envy Inspire 7955E, available at Staples. Offer valid through August 27. See staples.com/HP Plus for details.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers with a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights, new equipment. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount
The year was 1907. The Cubs won the World Series and the Ford Model R hit the assembly line. While here in Ohio, school administrators came together to form the Ohio High School Athletic Association. One thing that hasn't changed since 1907 is the dedication of the OHSAA to education-based athletics in Ohio. School sports teach responsibility, sportsmanship, and life lessons that stay with students long after their playing days are over. The OHSAA seeks to prepare students not for the next level of sport, but for the next level of life.
WYNG 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Week 1 of the high school football season is officially in the books. And, of course, we kicked off the 2022 high school football season with the with the, with Alter and Fairmont right off the bat. That's how we kicked off our season. Fairmont won 31-7. And our week 2 high school football game of the week right here on 1410 Wing AM will be this Friday night, as we will have Fairmont once again. They'll be on the road at Trotwood. Really looking forward to that matchup. I love our schedule this year. We get to see a lot of not just the top teams in the Miami Valley, but a lot of the top players in the Miami Valley. Kev, what's funny is, people talk all the time. Score updates. What was the score of the game at wingam.com? You can go and click on the high school football scoreboard and take advantage of the fact that we have the high school football scoreboard feature that, of course, up to the second updates as they're happening, and just to kind of get a refresh of what went on over the weekend. But the one thing we just don't, play individual performances. If you want to know a score, there's plenty of ways you can go find the score. You can go on Twitter, find the score. You can go to Facebook, find the score, the internet, whatever. There's plenty of ways to find the score, but I think some of our individual talented dudes in the Miami Valley need a little love. And that's why I thought that, every Monday we'll be giving at the top of the 4 o'clock hour, giving you our top individual performances from over the weekend. And Kev will go ahead and get things started. Of course, the thing that's interesting the most to me right now is the fact that, we talked about the Centerville Elks just a little bit ago, but right now for me, and we'll be putting this graphic out highlighting everyone here in just a moment, but the number 5 performance this past weekend, the Xenia Buccaneers, Xenia running back Trayshawn Sanders had 11 carries. All right, 11 carries, 151 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
3 tutties.
The kid did his job.
I saw some of the highlights floating around on Facebook and everything like that. And some of the cool things that he did when he got to the end zone was jumping into the arms of his offensive line. Everybody loves the guy that scores a touchdown, but with a running back, you can't do out that work without the offensive line. So I love him showing love to his offensive line as he scored not 1, not 2, but 3 tutties.
Absolutely. Again, number 5 on our, and again, that's our high school football top performers of week 1 of the high school football season. Trayshawn Sanders, Xenia Buccaneers running back, 11 carries, 151 yards, 3 touchdowns. Xenia beat Beaver Creek 40-3 to start the season 1-0, week 1 high school football action. Let's move on to number 4. Our number 4 performance of the weekend in week 1, Miamisburg running back Christian Davis. It was a lot of big performances from the running backs this week. Christian Davis, running back for the Miamisburg Vikings, had 114 yards on 10 carries, 3 touchdowns. Miamisburg, they had themselves an offensive night, 62-26 over West Carrollton, led behind the 3 touchdowns of Christian Davis. Very impressive performance from him.
Over 11 yards a carry, if my math is correct.
Not bad. That's called being efficient, if you ask me. Let's head over to Springboro, Kev. Springboro wide receiver Peyton Howard comes in at number 3 on our list here. Peyton Howard in the Springboro Panthers win over Lebanon, 21-19, by the way, the final in that one. How about this? The star wide receiver, 3 catches, 106 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 3 catches. That's all he needed to get 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. Big performance from the wide receiver there again. Springboro over Lebanon, 21-19.
Pretty impressive. I didn't see the highlights for that, so I'm gonna have to hunt for those highlights, because is this like, all right, man, a bubble screen and he took it to the house, or he got past the safety and caught a big bomb? I got to see the highlights.
All right, and number 2, moving up, number 2 on the list, our ESPN Dayton High School football game of the week this past Thursday night featured the Fairmont Firebirds and the Alter Knights. Fairmont would go on to beat Alter 31-7. They now have won 4 of the last 5 in that series, in that rivalry matchup. But look, Drew Baker, star running back for the Fairmont Firebirds, again, coming back the senior season last year, 1,500 plus yards on the season. I mean, he's just their workhorse. He is their run game. He carried the ball 29 times for 205 yards and 2 touchdowns, including, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was a 70-plus yarder that really kind of broke it open. That was the first offensive score of the night for Fairmont that night. And, well, again, 2 touchdowns, 205 yards. Fairmont goes on to beat Alter 31-7. And when they were up like 7-0, 10-0, I was like, it felt like they were up 21-0, 30-0, because with the run game and Baker just continuing to keep that clock running. But Baker, he's going to lead the G-Walk in rushing again. I promise you that much.
Cool story. Thursday night, TLC and Shaggy were at the Phrase.
This is a cool tie-in.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So obviously the Phrase is right by the high school. So there's a couple out there sitting at the Phrase listening to the concert and everything like that, but he has a radio on his lap listening to 1410 Wing AM and listening to one of your calls as
that was
I'm
the one
leaving.
guy tuning in on the dial.
So I heard one of those touchdowns as I was leaving the show on Thursday night. So it was, whatever you hear your partner in crime on the radio when you're not with him, it sounds a little different. So kudos to you for a great call, and kudos for him for getting over 200 rushing yards on the first game of the season.
Yeah, I'd say that's not going to be the last 200-yard performance that Drew Baker has for the Fairmont Firebirds this season. In fact, we'll have Drew Baker, in company this Friday night as the Firebirds at Trotwood in a big one. So there you go.
Get it on.
And the number one performance, in my opinion, over the weekend, I'm always going to show love to the defensive side of the ball. And I'm a big fan of this kid right here because we talked about it earlier. The Centerville Elks have one of the best defenses in the Miami Valley. And they have one of the best defenses in the Miami Valley because of a lot of names that we've talked about, Kev. One of those names, Reggie Powers, your godson, of course.
Yes,
again, he's a talented, senior. Of course, in the secondary, he has multiple
junior.
offers.
He is only a junior.
Multiple offers, including Cincinnati, UConn, and some other. What are some of the others? He's been very busy. He has a lot of eyes on him.
Very busy. I have to actually talk to his dad about it because I forget where all the places he went camping this summer. He went down to a lot of places. I can't exactly remember how many places he actually have official offers from, but he has quite a few already. But yeah, he's ready.
All right, continuing again on the defensive side of the ball, of course, for Centerville. How about Emmanuel Deng, as we talked about earlier in the show as well? He's a senior.
Yes.
Yeah, a senior cornerback, defensive back for the Elks. He's picked up multiple offers this past offseason from the likes of Akron.
I believe he just committed to Penn.
Did he committed to Penn? Nice. Not just about the football.
Yes, sir.
Good for him.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
So, yeah, before that, he had offers from Akron, Army, Central Michigan, among others, but committed to Penn. So, congratulations to Emmanuel Deng. And then, of course, talked about Bruder a little bit ago. Again, star defensive back. First team All-District last year, third team All-State. He had 3 interceptions, returned 2 of those for a touchdown a year ago. Point is, Centerville, they are loaded on the defensive side of the ball. But my number one performer over the weekend, the kid that had committed to Western Michigan heading into Friday night and woke up Saturday morning to an offer from Iowa State because of his performance, Centerville Elks linebacker Joseph Jean Louis. What a performance from him. 16 total tackles, Kev. 9 of those were solo. All right. He had 3 tackles for a loss. He had 1 sack. He led, he had 3 sacks for the Elks last year. But the star running back, again, helped lead Centerville to a 9-6 win over Lakota East, and that's why I gave him my top performance, mainly because, like I said, Western Michigan, he's committed there. That's fantastic, but then woke up, and it's like, man, he's one of my favorites because he's a kid. Others have established themselves, have bigger names. He comes in, he's committed to Western Michigan, and then he wakes up to an offer from Iowa State because of that big performance. So good for him. I'll be keeping an eye on him as well as the rest of the big defenders on the Centerville Elks roster. But one more time, Xenia running back, Trayshawn Sanders, 11 carries, 151 yards, 3 touchdowns, and Xenia's win over Beaver Creek, 40-3. Number 4 on the list, Miamisburg Vikings running back Christian Davis. He rushed for 114 yards, 3 touchdowns on 10 carries. Miamisburg beat West Carrollton 62-26. The Springboro Panthers, they had a big night offensively. They did win 21-19 over Lebanon, but they were led offensively by star wide receiver Peyton Howard. Kev, 3 catches, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. Fairmont running back comes in at number 2, Drew Baker, 29 carries, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. Fairmont beat Alter 31-7. And number 1 on our high school football top performers list from week 1 here in the Miami Valley, Centerville Oaks linebacker Joseph Jean Louis. Again, 16 total tackles, 9 of those solo, 3 tackles for a loss, and 1 sack. Centerville beat Lakota East 9-6. And again, he woke up to an offer from Iowa State after that big performance, so congratulations to him.
You know what's super cool also about Centerville, and definitely the way they played football this past Friday, winning 9-6. In high school, defense still rules the day.
Yep.
You know, in the NFL, it's all about high-flying offenses, and college football, you can't do anything unless you're scoring at least 30-something points a game. But in the high school football, you can still win games like that, the old school way, the rock'em sock'em way, the bloody nose type of way with outstanding defense, man. So kudos to the Centerville defense, man.
Yeah,
because Lakota ain't no pushover.
No, and they only the fact that the Elks only put up 9 points and still came away with the win because of that defense, no surprise there. All right, one more time, our ESPN Dayton high school football game of the week coming up this Tuesday night. Again, looking forward to that matchup. Of course, we will have the Trotwood Rams welcome in the Fairmont Firebirds. Looking forward to that. 7 o'clock, the kickoff right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be partly cloudy, a high near 80. Tonight's going to be mostly clear, a low near 60. And tomorrow's going to be clear and sunny, a high near 85. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces around your home, office, or commercial property. Crack filling, asphalt sealing, and parking lot striping. Find us at culletsealcoating.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like
That meditation?
I'm recommending Uma and their all-in-one phone, video, and collaboration solution.
Uma?
Yep, switching to Uma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Uma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Uma, smart communications for the smarter business.
With nearly 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores and over 17,000 Napa Auto Care centers, Napa is the fuel that helps drivers like you get up and go.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
I want to take more chances with the embroidering.
Henley's vision for a new clothing line is coming into focus.
Dramatic.
They'll need an on-staff photographer to put their collection in the spotlight.
Why is no one taking shots of these?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Dealing with an outdated printer that just can't keep up with you? Visit Staples and upgrade to a new HP Envy Inspire with HP Plus, HP's best home printer. And it comes with 6 months of free ink. It prints everything you need, from homework and work documents to incredible photos and more with amazing quality. Right now, save $70 on the HP Envy Inspire 7955E, available at Staples. Offer valid through August 27. See staples.com/HP Plus for details.
Week 1 of the NFL season is not too far off in the distance, of course. And although we may not be Dayton's home of the Browns or the Bengals, we still are Dayton's home of, well, all the NFL talk. That is for sure, between the Browns and the Bengals and all things NFL. So we're excited about the upcoming season. That's for sure. We got our big NFL Sunday show, of course, the Sunday morning tailgate that'll tip off. I'd say it's having basketball too. That'll kick off on September 11th, live at Frickers on 741 by the Dayton Mall. Myself, 13-year NFL vet Keith Byers, Pro Bowl running back, also a college football Hall of Famer. We're excited to be bringing the show back for how many years is this? Probably about year 5 for the show. So excited about that, of course. Again, September 11th. Sunday, September 11th will be the first time we'll be back out at Frickers on 741 by the Dayton Mall for the Sunday morning tailgate show to talk all things NFL. It's going to be one of the wildest NFL seasons. Every year we feel that way, but this year just seems more wild just because of, there's a lot of parity in the NFL. A lot of parity in the NFL this year. And what's funny is I think there's going to be a lot. I think that the NFC is going to be propped up and maybe better than what people are anticipating it's going to be. The AFC is getting so much love right now, and a lot of it is because of the player movement, the mass player movement that we saw. Not just player movement, but star player movement this past off season. Of course, when you look at the fact that Devontae Adams going from the Packers in the NFC over to the Raiders with Derek Carr, Tyreek Hill, of course, leaving the Chiefs, staying in the AFC, but going over to the Dolphins. But you still got the Dolphins are a better team now, as they're another year experience with a lot of their young stars. They got a new offensive-minded head coach, so it'll be interesting to see kind of what direction that they go in. The Bills, another year better. The Ravens will be healthy. The Browns add Deshaun Watson. That's still going to be a chaotic year, as, of course, they're without him for the first 12 games. The Bengals reloaded up on the offensive line, and this is a team that, with their quarterback getting sacked 70 times, still made it to the damn Super Bowl and was still within a play, within a couple seconds of winning the Super Bowl. The Steelers, you can never count them out. The Tennessee Titans, the 1 seed from a year ago. Of course, they don't have A.J. Brown anymore. No more Julio Jones, but they do have Derrick Henry, which at the end of the day, we know the run game is the main focal point of the success of the Titans. Trevor Lawrence has impressed a lot of people in preseason, whatever that means. But again, having more of a structured preseason and start to his second year in the NFL, expect big things from him. What does that mean for the Jags? We don't know. The Colts, I think, are a very underrated team that no one's really paying a lot of attention to because they're not as flashy. Another year of Justin Herbert with the Chargers, the Raiders. who made the playoffs last year despite all the chaos, players being arrested and kicked off the roster, of course. And you got your head coach who's replaced midseason because of racist emails that circulated around the NFL. Then you have Russell Wilson, who's now with the Denver Broncos. I mean, the AFC is just storyline after storyline after storyline, talented team after talented team. I've said before, 10 teams, there are going to be 10-plus win teams in the AFC this upcoming season. 3 of those 10-plus win teams, in my opinion, will miss the playoffs. It's going to be a bloodbath in the AFC, and I cannot wait. The NFC, there will not be a lot of 10-plus win teams in the NFC, but there will be a lot of teams vying for playoff spots. Some teams accidentally make the playoffs. That's how weak the NFC has been. We've talked about the NFC East, 8-win teams, not just making the playoffs, but winning the division. The Eagles last year, how the hell were they a playoff team? My goodness, but they backed their way into a playoff game. The North is going to be interesting in the NFC, of course. The Bears are going to be bad. The Packers, their roster is significantly worse than a year ago. I don't know how Packers fans feel about their team, but not a lot of people are very high on that team, outside of Aaron Rodgers, of course. But, I'm just at this point, the Lions will be better, but not like, Super Bowl caliber better. And the Vikings may be the favorites to win that division. That tells you where that division is. The South is interesting. Baker Mayfield with the Carolina Panthers. The Saints get Jameis Winston back, of course. Jameis Winston has Jarvis Landry. He has Michael Thomas back. Michael Thomas injured again, though. Stop me if you've heard that one before.
Ouch.
They get Chris Olave in the draft. They have weapons galore. Alvin Kamara. So it's interesting to see the direction that the Saints go in. The Falcons rebuilding. The Bucs get Tom Brady back after a very short retirement. And then the NFC West, of course, the defending Super Bowl champs, the Rams, the San Francisco 49ers, of course, with Kyler Murray moving on from Jimmy Garoppolo, the Seattle Seahawks in full rebuild mode, and the Cardinals, well, they are coming in with their newly paid quarterback in Kyler Murray, and a lot of expectations for them to not collapse in the second half of the season. Lots going on in the NFL in both the AFC and the NFC. Kev, a lot of 7 playoff spots, 14 total playoff spots up for grabs, only 7 in each division. As I've said, 10-plus teams in the AFC will be fighting for 7 spots. The NFC, there'll be good teams who miss the playoffs as well. I think the NFL is as deep as it's ever been, and that's why we're going to jump into who's in, who's out, and Kev Nash brings us that right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Going in, I'm going in, I'm going in, I'm going in.
Or
interesting songs.
Didn't expect that one, did you?
No, holy moly. All right, NFL playoffs. It's going to be a very fun upcoming NFL season. We got our bold predictions coming up later in the week, but I already gave you my first bold prediction. AFC, Kev, 10-plus win teams. 3 of those 10-plus win teams will miss the playoffs. Simple. You throw me the team, I tell you whether they're in, I tell you they're out. I haven't lined this up before for a purpose here because I'm curious how it's all going to play out at the very end. So, Kev, let's get started.
Play along at home. Bills, in or out?
Oh, they're definitely in. The Bills are definitely in.
Dolphins.
The Dolphins.
It started already. We didn't even make it to the third team.
I will say they're out.
Okay. Pats.
Out.
Jets.
Out.
Ravens.
In.
Bengals.
In.
Browns.
In.
Steelers.
Out. This is a very exciting game. We can liven this up a little bit. You can only say the Cleveland Browns, like, in or out. The playoff picture, we're gonna iron it out right now. We don't even need the regular season. Let's just fast
all
forward
right.
to
So you got 4 teams in currently.
4
teams in currently. Okay. All right. So we're headed to the AFC South. Houston Texans.
The Houston Texans are already on the clock, so they are out.
All right. What about those Colts?
Colts are in a big way. They're one of those 10-plus win teams I was talking about.
Duval County, Jacksonville Jaguars.
I think that they're going to be flirting, but they will be out. I think they'll win 8 to 9 games, but they will be on the outside looking in.
I mean, you're like on the Trevor same Lawrence. Page with that. Definitely on the same page with that. What about the Texans?
The Texans? You mean the Titans?
Titans. I'm sorry. Yes, okay. Titans.
Because the Texans are out, as I said. The Titans will. Man, they will be in. I think that they will be in. I think they'll be about a 9 to 10 win team as well. What am I at? What's that total at right now? We're going through this. If you're just joining
all righty, and this is exactly what I wanted. We are headed to the AFC West. Only one team.
Is tough. Only one.
Only one team can make it. according to Kenner. So is it going to be the Broncos, the Chiefs, Raiders, or the Chargers? We know how much you love
It's not
the
that hard.
Chargers.
I will take the Dolphins out, put the Chargers in. The Chargers and the Chiefs.
No. It's cheating already.
That's fine.
No.
That's fine. The Chiefs are in. Look, if you actually out there think that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, the Kansas City Chiefs, are not going to make the playoffs, I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous. The Raiders, I mean, come on. They made the playoffs last year. I get that. They add Devontae Adams. Carr's not a bad quarterback. I don't think Adams is going to make as significant of an impact as what Raider fans are hoping for. I think that Adams is super, super talented, one of the best, if not the best wide receiver in football. But at the same time, how much of a step back will he take? Not because he's playing with Derek Carr, but because he's not playing with Aaron Rodgers. I'm going with the Chiefs to come out of that division. But tell me my non-playoff teams.
So you have no Chargers, no Raiders, no Broncos, no Jaguars, no Texans, no Pittsburgh Steelers, no Jets, no Pats, no Dolphins.
So I did not put the Dolphins in?
No.
I did not put the Dolphins in. So tell me who I had in.
You had Buffalo, the only team from the AFC East.
Buffalo.
You had the AFC North not only getting one, but two, but three teams from the AFC North.
Do this. I'm taking Cleveland out.
Okay.
I'm going to take Cleveland out.
I'll let you get your mulligan.
So Bengals, Ravens. So Buffalo, Bengals, Ravens. No Browns, no Steelers out of the AFC North. And again, only one team out of course, that division with the old East.
Yeah.
All right.
So then you got the Colts in and the Titans
I'm going to take the Titans out. The Titans
All right.
The Titans lost. I know Julio Jones was not a huge factor for them last year as what people expected. And of course, A.J. Brown losing him is a big deal. So I'm going to take them out, although they'll be interesting.
Okay.
But I'm going to take them out.
So who you putting in?
The Colts.
So you got two more teams to put in.
So the Colts are in, and that's it out of that division.
Right.
I think the West I need to show a little bit more respect to. I think I can't say that the AFC North is going to get 2 to 3 teams in the North, in the South or whatever. The West gets one. So the Chiefs are in. I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Chargers.
The Chargers and Chiefs.
So you got one more to play with. Is it going to be the Raiders or the Broncos?
Raiders or Broncos. I left the Titans out. I'm going to say the Dolphins. The Dolphins will make the playoffs.
Oh, so you're going to stick with the Dolphins.
I'm going to stick with the Dolphins. The Dolphins are in.
Okay.
I'm going to put the Dolphins in.
Okay.
So there's that. But yes, so that gives me my 7, huh?
Yep.
My 7 AFC North teams, or my 7 AFC teams are who? One more time.
Chargers,
Okay.
Chiefs,
All right, out of the West.
Colts from the South,
Okay.
Ravens, Bengals from the North.
Yep.
And then you got the Bills and the Dolphins from the AFC East.
Bills and I think that those are your playoff teams. Those are your playoff teams. If the Dolphins, don't pan out, I think the Raiders kind of sneak in there. I think the Broncos are severely overrated. I think Russell Wilson's overrated. I think he's good. He's better than Dak Prescott in Dallas, but I don't think that he's better than Lamar. I don't think that he's better than Aaron Rodgers. He's not better than Tom Brady. He's not better than Matthew Stafford. He's not better than a lot of these guys. He's a likable dude. I think that's why we're jumping on that. I think that's
right.
I think like Kyler Murray, I like Kyler Murray more than Russell Wilson. As crazy as that sounds, I don't care. It's a hot take. It is what it is. It's almost NFL season, baby. I'm almost in midseason for myself. But Kyler Murray's unlikable, so more people pile on him than they pile on than they do Russell Wilson. So let's ride.
I like it. You want to go down to the NFC?
What would your list look like?
Oh, okay.
What would your list out of the AFC look like?
Real quick off the top of my head, Bills in, Pats in. So that's 2 from the AFC East. Ravens and Bengals in from the North.
Bills and Pats are in.
Yes, Bills and Pats.
Bills is fine. The Pats is interesting.
Yes,
Okay.
Bills and Pats are in from the AFC East. Ravens, Bengals from the North. South, only the Colts.
Yep.
Raiders and the Chiefs from the West.
So we're basically on the same page except for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's roughly the same, but there will be good teams on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, let's transition over to the NFC, in or out, rapid fire again. Without, I haven't made my playoff list yet. It's just a matter of throwing teams out. And the math is, it's going to show you that the NFC, the AFC is loaded. The NFC, I think, is is maybe not as loaded on paper as the AFC, but I think there's going to be a backlog of teams fighting for 7 spots. Let's start, of course, Kev. I'll let you're driving this bus, but let's start, I'm sure, in the East.
Your other team. Everybody knows you're a Cleveland Browns fan, but they forget that you're also a Dallas Cowboys fan. Do the Cowboys make the playoffs, in or out?
I think they do because they're the best of the worst that's in that division. I still think that's a bad division. I think that they're in, and I'll save you the time. The Giants, Eagles, and Commanders are all out.
Okay. All right. So we're headed to the north. The Chicago Bears. Are they in or out?
They are the biggest winners of the 2022 season because they will have the number 1 overall pick in one of the deepest quarterback drafts that we've seen in quite a few years now. But they are definitely out of the playoff picture before the season even begins. Their coach is already on the hot seat. Fields' job is up for the taking pretty much. Every job is up for the taking at this point. The Bears are a disaster. It's unfortunate, but they are not going to make the playoffs, not even close.
What about our friends up there in Detroit, Motown, the Lions?
They're going to be the lovable losers. The Browns used to be the lovable losers for a while. They are now the most hated losers in the NFL. The Lions are the new lovable losers because of because of their coach. So they're going to be out, Kev, but I think they're going to win 8 to 9 games. They kind of remind me of that Dolphins team a little bit. They're going to be close to 500, but I think that they miss the playoffs when it's all said and done.
Okay. What about Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers?
They make the playoffs. They don't win the division. The Vikings win the division. So there you go. So I hate 2 teams.
Okay.
So 1 team out of the East and the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to roll with 2 out of the North and the Packers with the Vikings winning the division.
Okay. Let's transition to the South, the dirty, dirty South. What about the Atlanta Falcons? In or out?
That's a team that finds themselves in a weird position. I think they want that. They go out and they get a quarterback that I think is going to help them win football games, but I don't think it was that smart, to be honest. They were in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, by the way. Keep that in mind. But I think they're going to be another team that's 7-8 win team in that range. They will not make the playoffs.
What about your guy Baker Mayfield and the Carolina Panthers?
I think that they win the division. They make the playoffs. And all y'all haters out there what was the DX chant? Just saying. But the Panthers are definitely in. They win the division. You hear that, Ronnie? You hear that, Ron?
Oh, this would be interesting then. So the Saints and Bucks, what's up with them?
The Saints and Bucks will also make it as well.
Oh.
The Bucks offensive line is very bad right now. I know the Panthers is as well, but the thing is, we'll talk about this more in depth in a little bit, but I think both are talented enough to make the playoffs. Obviously, Tampa's going to be there when it's all said and done. But they're a little. We'll talk about that. But yes, Panthers, Saints, and New Orleans all coming. Or I'm sorry, Panthers, Saints, and Bucks all coming out of the South. That's already 4. That's 6 and 7. No team. Oh,
no, that's 1, 2, 3. That's 6. That's 6.
That's 6.
That's 6. You got 1 spot left.
We got 1 spot
NFC
left.
West.
The NFC West is the Rams. The Niners. I don't think Kyler Murray and the Cardinals are going to. That they're going to be the biggest drama. They're going to be the Browns of the NFC West. Just drama with Kyler Murray. They're going to miss the playoffs again. They'll be looking for a new coach at the end of the year. The Seahawks are rebuilding. The Niners, I'm not a big fan of the quarterback at this moment. Everyone that's overhyping him because of what he's done in the preseason. It's preseason. I am not a Niners fan in this situation. I think that you're going to see that Jimmy Garoppolo may not be a elite quarterback, but hey, when he's on the roster, they're in the Super Bowl. When he's not on the roster, they're picking at the top of the draft. When he comes back, they're beating the Packers in the playoffs and a game away from the Super Bowl. You take them off this roster, they're missing the playoffs again, Kev. I think that they're out. I think only the Rams come out of the West.
All righty. Okay. So quick question before I do mine. Who is going to have a worse record, the Bears or the Seahawks?
I think the Bears are in way. The Seahawks have a better coach, so I'm going to say the Bears will have the worst record.
I agree. I think the Bears are going to flirt with disaster.
Yeah, like they're dysfunctional as can be right now. So yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be flirting with 2 wins. For me, I only have the Eagles coming out of the NFC East. I have them winning
just a tad. Sorry,
I have them winning the NFC East, and then basically obviously the Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders not making it. Out of the North, I have, well, this is one of my hot takes, I'll give it away right now. I have the Vikings winning the this upcoming season in the NFC. Got obviously the Bears, just called them a train wreck. They're out. Lions are out. And then I have the Packers squeaking into the playoffs with a wild card spot because Aaron Rodgers, as bad as he is in the playoffs, he is just as good in the regular season. So I got to still show him a lot of respect. As for the South, I got your guy Baker Mayfield watching from the sidelines along with the Falcons, but I got the Saints and the Bucks in. Saints and Bucks are in. Not only are the Saints going to be in, they're going to win the NFC South. And then from the West, I got the Cardinals in, and I got the defending Super Bowl champions in with the Niners and the Seahawks watching on TV with me and you.
There you go. All right, you heard it. We just did our NFL playoff prediction. Who's in, who's out, just rapid fire. And you've heard what we have to say. What about you guys? 518-1410, 518-1410. Who's in, who's out? Again, in the AFC, my 7 teams I have in, of course, I have Buffalo along with the Dolphins. Out of the AFC, I have Buffalo in Miami. Out of the East, I have the Ravens and the Bengals. Out of the North, I have the Colts. Out of the South, and then, of course, I have the Chargers and the Chiefs out of the West. Those are my 7 AFC teams who will be duking it out come playoff time. Out of the NFC, the Dallas Cowboys will come out of the East, and that's about it. And that's not me being a homer. I think that they're the worst of the worst in that division, or they're the best of the worst in that division. And someone has to make the playoffs, as the East has shown us over the years. The North will be represented, of course, by the Vikings. I think they win that division, and I think Green Bay sneaks in. I can't say that Aaron Rodgers' team won't make the playoffs. I could just guarantee you they won't win in the playoffs because that, it is what it is. So now that's at 3. Out of the NFC South, I have Carolina. I have the Saints and the Buccaneers all making it out of the NFC South. And
love that 3-for, man. You love that 3-for picks, man.
A little hot take twist to this. Carolina wins that division, and only one team out of the NFC West, the Rams, comes out there. So again, the Cowboys, the Packers, the Vikings, the Panthers, the Saints, the Bucks, and the Rams are the 7 playoff teams I have for the NFC.
It's almost time. Man.
But still a lot of time left, though.
It is. I had this conversation with the wife at our anniversary dinner. I was like, yeah, high school football this week. Next week, college football, week 0. She was like, oh, well, I guess I'll see you around Thanksgiving. I was like, yeah.
See you at Easter.
Yeah, because I'm not available on the weekends. So any dates you want to do, make them Tuesday through Thursday.
There you go. And again, our NFL playoffs, who's in, who is out. All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Ron Howard just said, I'm drinking. Ron, don't be mad. Baker's going to be your worst nightmare. The Panthers winning that division. You just don't know it yet. But now you do, because I just told you. So there you go. Take it to the bank.
Uh-oh.
Take it to the bank. We'll be right back.
Save this segment.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
According to labor statistics, there are over 37,000 jobs in the Dayton region going unfilled. Many are good-paying jobs, essential to our society, that do not require a college degree. Find the career path that's right for you and your bank account. Go to Be the Essential.
That was. We welcome you back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. And of course, what we did is we who's in, who's out as far as the college football, not the college. Oh, that's another one too. But the NFL playoffs, the AFC, the NFC picture, what it all looks like at this point. And of course, Ron Howard says I'm drinking. Look, I do think that the hottest take I had was that the Panthers would win in the NFC. I got to stick to my true colors. I've attached myself to the Baker Mayfield roller coaster, so I'm gonna ride that train again. He was just named the starter, which of course should have been to the surprise of nobody, of course, because at the end of the day, it's Sam freaking Darnold, and I think that for all you haters out there, even you have to admit that yes, Baker's significantly better than Sam Darnold. Now you could twist and say it's not really bragging about that much being better than Sam Darnold. So there's that, but. Yes, the NFC, the AFC, of course. Now, I talked about the AFC, Kev, 10-win teams.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the AFC, I think the Bills will be a 10-win team, and I think that the Dolphins could be a 10-win team.
Wow.
So
you're high on the Dolphins.
That's I just think that they have too much firepower on both sides of the ball. If you lose with that team, that's a problem. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand when you have all that talent on the offense and people forget the story's been about Tua and the offense. That's because I'm expecting him to have not maybe a Joe Burrow type breakout year, but I am expecting him to have a breakout year for whatever your high expectations of Tua should be.
Mm-hmm.
But, between the O-line, they fixed that up. Right, they got they got him some O-line help. They definitely got him some wide receiver help.
Definitely,
run game's not bad, and they got weapons on the defensive side of the ball. If I was confident that the Patriots were going to be able to put it together, I would not be as high on the Dolphins right now. But I think that the two top teams in the AFC East, Buffalo and the Dolphins, that's two 10-win teams right there. The AFC North, the Dolphins and Bengals, the Ravens and Bengals, that's two 10-win teams right there. I still think Cleveland could flirt with a 10-win season, but I'm going to say there's two teams out of the North right there that can win 10. And then you look at the AFC South, I think the Titans can be 9 to 10 win team right there. The Colts definitely. All right, so that puts us at 6. And then I think the AFC West, 3 of those going to be at a 10-plus win season, and the one that's not at 10 will be pretty much at 9. So I've predicted 10. That puts you at about 9. The Browns at the time when I thought Deshaun was going to play, when I officially made that hot take, was back when I thought Deshaun was suspended for 6 games. I think now it's going to be a little tougher, but I think I'm going to stick to that. But I think there'll be 10-plus win teams in the AFC, and I think 3 of those 10-win teams missed the playoffs this year.
So the Browns, Jacoby Brissett, 11 games. Let's just say he starts those first 11 games, and then Deshaun comes back the back half of the season. So what's their record, would you think?
Well, the problem with that now is when you talk about the fact that there's 12 games that they have to, 11 games they have to play with Jacoby Brissett.
Mm-hmm.
Look, you got the Panthers week 1. Another hot take about the Browns are losing week 1 against the Panthers. That's why everyone thinks the Browns are just gonna they lose week 1, but they beat the Jets. I think they beat the Steelers. I think they beat the Falcons, and that's 3 wins, 3-1 to start. I think they lose to the Chargers. That's 3-2 to start. They beat the Patriots. That's 4-2 to start. I do think that they lose to the Ravens. That's 4-3, 4-4. I think they're going to lose to the Bengals at that point, as much as that pains me. That Dolphins game is going to be interesting. I'm going to take the Browns over the Dolphins. The run game for Cleveland, that's 5-4. 5-5 after they lose to the Bills. I think they beat the Bucs. I'm not as high on the Bucs as everyone is right now. Look, you saw the Bucs last year start to tailspin towards the back end of the season.
Yeah.
Then they got blitzed in the playoffs. Then they came back, made it interesting, and ended up losing late, of course, but against the Rams. But they weren't as in sync towards the back half of the season. Now you're without Gronk. Now you're without your offensive line.
And Brady's been gone for what now, 2 weeks?
Yeah, this team's not better than last year. You're just doing the whole, they got Tom Brady back, so they're going to be good. I don't think the Bucs are as good as what people are saying that they are. So that puts Cleveland at 7-5 right there. They beat the Texans in his return. That's 8-5. I think they beat the Bengals. That's 9-5. They lose to the Ravens again just because I'm not confident in their ability to beat the Baltimore. It drives me crazy. Baltimore drives me crazy with Lamar. So that's 9-6. They beat the Saints. That's 10-7, right? No, that's a whole. I'm way off on the record here because I lost count.
So you
I'm
think
sorry.
that would be
My fault. I'm way off on this.
You
10-7, 13 weeks in. That doesn't make any damn sense.
No, I was just talking about Jacoby Brissett. Like for those 11 games, do you think they could get to 5 wins?
Yeah, they beat the Jets, Steelers, Falcons, Patriots, and Dolphins. Yes,
Okay.
I think they could sneak a win against the Bengals in there. I'm curious about the Chargers. I'm high on the Chargers because I like Justin Herbert, but I am curious about the Chargers. But they added another big pass rusher in the offseason too, and Khalil Mack. So it's like that's another team to keep an eye out for.
Just paid Derwin James. Obviously, Bosa's still out there. I worry about the Chargers. Everybody knows how I feel about some of those play calls by the coach and everything like that, the going for it mentality. But who are their linebackers? And that's not like a knock. That's a legit question. Like, I just don't know who their linebackers are. Like, somebody's got to play the middle of the field. Like, you got to have this playmaker in Derwin James roaming the secondary all you want. You got to have these elite pass rushers and Bosa and Khalil Mack all you want. Who is the linebackers? Who are the linebackers, let's say? So that's my question about them.
I mean, every team's going to have deficiencies and
sure.
whatnot, but that, could that be the difference maker and what keeps them out? But real quick, since we're here, as far as Cleveland's concerned, they lose to Baker Mayfield in week 1. It is what it is.
You hope so.
I'm not. And by the way, that's a win-win for me. If they beat the Panthers, so what? The Browns are 1-0 to start the season. They haven't won. It's been how many years since they've won in week 1?
It's called covering your bets.
So I'm covering your ass. But so the Browns. Let's just down the stretch for the Browns here. Okay, they lose to the. Here, let me make sure. Doing this live on there. I gotta
putting it on wax.
Yeah, it is what it is. But they will lose to the Panthers in week 1. But they will beat the Jets. They will beat the Steelers. They'll beat the Falcons in weeks 2, 3, and 4. They lose to the Chargers. Okay. And this is all in Deshaun Watson's absence. I think they beat the Patriots. I think they lose to the Ravens. I think they beat the Bengals. And then, of course, we are off and rolling. I think they beat the Dolphins. I think they lose to the Bills, of course. I think they beat the Buccaneers. Ron is just hating me right now, and that's totally fine. Buccaneers. That's not me being a homer on the Browns, by the way. I'm telling you, I don't think the Buccaneers are as good as what people are saying that they are. They are a worse team than they were a year ago. They don't have Gronk. Their offensive line is worse. Brady retired. He's not 100% mentally into this upcoming season. He hasn't been 100% committed to preseason. And you could say, well, maybe, he's been in the league so long, he doesn't need preseason. Well, you can argue that for a guy that has never changed his habits in the history of his career in the NFL, everything is different right now. He's not playing with Gronk. He's not available for preseason. And by the way, I'm not being insensitive. If there's something serious going on, obviously, he's never put anything else over football before, so clearly it has to be something serious. So there, he's not going to be mentally into the season, and this team is not as good as what they were a year ago. It's that simple. Hell, I mean, Antonio Brown, they were without him down the back half of last year, but they don't have him, and he was a major asset to the team that won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. And then on defense, they're weaker as well. So they don't have Ndamukong Suh. So you know what I'm saying? Like those are big pieces that were a part of that Super Bowl run. So no, I don't think that's a hot take, especially because it's in Cleveland. So at that point, that puts them at 7-4 without Deshaun Watson coming back. So I think it could be a 10-win team. I still think they may miss the playoffs because I think the AFC is just too damn good, but we'll see what happens. We'll see. Because you don't say nothing because I said they'll beat your Steelers.
Hey.
Just saying.
Hey, you're still living off that playoff victory. I'm living off those 2 wins from last season.
I'm not living off I'm not living off that playoff victory. I'm living off the fact that your quarterback's Mitch Trubisky. That's where.
Oh yeah. Mitchell.
Oh, Mitchell. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So his mom kicking our butts.
David Shaw. You just talked all that smack about the Dolphins, yet you have the Browns beating them without Watson. Please. First of all, you don't got to be soft, Shaw. Just because I say a team's going to beat a team, that doesn't mean it's disrespectful to the team that I picked the team to win over.
Who is Shaw's NFL team? I think
he just got whatever I say. He just picks the opposite.
I'm serious. I mean, we know he's a team up north fan in college football for some strange reason. But who is your team in the NFL?
I said, look, I'm picking the Browns to beat the Bengals when Deshaun comes back. But keep in mind, I still think the Bengals right now are better than the Browns. That's not, you know what I mean? Just because I pick a team to win doesn't mean I think that team's necessary. The other team is trash. I don't think you're making the point you think you're making, Shaw. Just throwing that out there. I only have a few minutes. Let's go to Jesse. Jesse, how are you, sir? Welcome in.
What up?
Oh, you have this certain tone. I feel like you're about to bring the heat. There you go. Shaw, by the way, real quick, Jesse, Shaw gets more heat from other listeners than any other caller on the show. I don't know why I get a kick out of that. I actually enjoy it, but continue. Like the Titans, I'm uncomfortable with the Titans. I feel like I should pick them higher, but they lost their 2-star wide receivers, so I'm a little uneasy about that.
I'm comfortable with your Cleveland Browns, and I hate to say that, being a Bengals fan. And I think what you're forgetting is that there's 40 men that play every day. There's defensive and offensive line. Like Cleveland, I think Cleveland is going to make the playoffs. The Denver Broncos, do you forget how good of the defense they had and how many wide receivers they have, and now they have a quarterback? No, I just brought up quarterback after I was.
Yeah. See?
but in the NFC, I think the 49ers. Did you forget they have a defense? I mean, did you forget how far they went last year?
But they also had the defense the year.
Can't be that bad.
I know, but when they were out with Garoppolo, they go to the Super Bowl with Garoppolo. He gets hurt, and then they missed the playoffs the next year. They had a very good defense that year. He comes back, you know.
But you're saying they won't make the playoffs this year. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, how about defense and offensive line instead of just quarterback?
First of all, no. I mean, that's why, first of all, you sound like you should work for Hooters. Hooters spoke up for the offensive line. Hooters just did this big name, image, and likeness deal with the offensive line groups for a lot of Power 5 schools because the CEO of Hooters said that the offensive line just doesn't get enough love, and that's why Hooters is giving them their money. So you sound like you work for Hooters, my dude. Damn, that was excellent. That was pretty good. I'm not as fat as I used to be, but the man boob joke, that was excellent. Good for you, Jesse. Mm-hmm. You never know the pain people are feeling inside, dude. I'm just saying. It just, I know I look great. That was his insecurities that he is, putting on me.
You tell him, Kenner.
Never mind. We'll be right back. More than just the Kenner Show with Kevin Nash next.
The Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Folks, does your animal's sleeping quarters look like a mud pit? Well, we've got bedding. Fine, medium, large, curly, and cedar. Make your animal's living quarters great again with bedding from Homestead Feed and Supply. New Carlisle. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, service